Hello and welcome to Admit One, your movie and TV podcast right here on Rabbit Hole Media. I am one of your hosts, Jack Netley Thompson, and as always and as usual, I'm joined by my platonic husband, Kristian Lasham.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright. I'm okay.
We just had a very stressful 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened. Like, everything
PC related just caught fire.
Yeah, everything went against us.
Both
Like,
literally and figuratively.
the weird thing about the whole internet scenario and PC scenario this evening is that we seem to continuously, week on week, have random, unexplained issues.
Unrelated issues as
that
well.
are unrelated to each other each week. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Jesus hates us. That's
What can
the
you do?
only explanation.
What can you do?
There is...
We even had a conversation on like, oh, we won't need to set up straight away. We need to give ourselves a little bit of time because we need to set up the console for the Dead Space stream later. But fine, we've got time, no problem. All went to shit.
Everything went Pete Tong. We are 20 minutes. This is probably the latest we've been in years. Yeah. Literally years.
God, the fact we've been doing this for literally years is the other problem there.
It's upsetting, isn't it? It is truly upsetting, and our viewers currently are at 2. Years of our life. Years. Anyway, we're here to talk about The Last of Us, episode 3. That was 6. Episode 3, as you may expect. Let's just dive right into it. No need for a waffle.
No, I wouldn't mind a waffle,
I wouldn't mind a waffle.
I think it's a perfectly good need for a waffle.
£20 for a waffle. It's one of the clips from the Ratchet and Clank highlight video, and it cracks me up every time. Of course it cracks me up. It's me that said it. And
I don't remember that.
And I think I might be the funniest.
I don't remember that, but I assume you were looking at ordering something from Creams.
It was the one where we kept telling people to order us food.
I do remember.
Yeah, and yes, I was looking at Creams, and it was 20 quid for like a waffle and a milkshake.
Yeah, pass.
Agreed. But anyway, general thoughts. Episode 3 of The Last of Us.
This show needs to stop fucking me up.
Agreed.
Like, stop. Like, real stop. Now, I will, first of all, I'm going to get my small, some people would say negative, I'm not going to call it negative, but my small irk out of the way, which is just that I'm continually finding it jarring when there are major changes from the game, only because of I know the game and that story so well that when it does go off path and they change something, it's confusing in my head.
Yes.
But despite the fact that I think because of the changes to this episode, I can't do this without doing a slightly spoilers. But because of the changes in this episode meant that we didn't have Joel, Ellie, and Bill together. Mm-hmm. Meant that we didn't get some of my favorite moments from the game. And I think important moments from the game. Not important moments we still can't get in other ways, but you know, things I was expecting to have. Although I feel like that was a shame. What?
I've just noticed the title. T-Lao Hob 3 review.
Oh, it's supposed to say T-Lao HBO.
Did you even bother to write The Last of Us?
The Go Live. We were in a rush. The Go Live notification says not on the strawberries.
I don't think it does because there's a red line underneath.
I don't know how you spell strawberries.
I think it's IES.
I didn't do that. That's definitely YS. Anyway, despite the fact that these things didn't happen, which I was expecting and looking forward to, my favorite bits of the game, the way they deviated and the story they told in this episode, and I mean specifically just the story, this episode had its own plot line, really.
I'm going to die one day.
Was so...
That's both a non-statement.
So well written and well executed. Didn't fucking matter. All of the stuff that I was like, oh, I wish I had this, wish I had that, wish I had that. Don't care, because this was really fucking good. Yeah. And I'm glad I got this. Because I have had that. That other thing, I've had it. And I can have it anytime I want in the Last of Us game. Fine. But I don't have this. And this was fucking brilliant. I think it was well written. It still, even though it had taken a real turn, it still somehow felt like The Last of Us. I think it captures, for me, what I was saying has been strong about The Last of Us, which is it's a character story. And yes, okay, this focus wasn't on Joel and Ellie, but the game is so good because it gives you all these character stories. And we said prior to the show airing, we hope we get to see somehow them delving into things like Ish's story, potential future spoilers there, but yeah, as an example.
That was so vague, I don't think it really counts.
But
and also, I don't think there's a chance in hell that that's going to happen in the show.
For sure.
Here we are.
But we wanted to see that kind of thing, that we get to see somehow other work goings on, and this put the focus on characters living in this world, not the focus on the infection, which again was my problem last week. Stop putting a focus on the infection, because that's
irrelevant,
entirely irrelevant. It's just by the by. It's the vehicle to tell character stories. This here's the setting up. This is happening at this time, so you know. This is happening at this part of the pandemic. But it's not about that. Moving on, here's about the characters. And we only saw 2 infected in the entire fucking episode.
Yes, and one of them got destroyed.
Both of them got quite fucked up in one way or another.
Indeed, I only remember one. One of them got...
We'll get to it.
I only remember one.
We will get to it. But I love that, because that's what the point of this, I think the point of The Last of Us is to go, there's some crazy fucking zombie shit going on, or infected shit going on, but it's not about that. It's about the character stories and what that world forces people to do in the characters, within their relationships and stuff. And I think it was really well written, really well explored, and fucking exquisitely executed and performed. Like, Nick Offerman in Murray, I can't remember his surname, but Murray, whatever his...
Why?
Yeah. Also excellent. But Nick Offerman, man, there's so many little subtle stuff in his performance in this, which is so very, very good. And outstanding episode. Really good bit of TV. And I'm glad I've seen it.
It's gonna really irritate me. I was so far off with White Bartlett.
Okay, there you go, Murray Bartlett. Anyway, you go.
Seconded. I think the one thing I have learned to do over the last couple of weeks, just because I was with you in a lot of it, is I've learned this is a separate product. This is just The Last of Us Elseworld. Just its own thing, which is fine. So I can now just embrace for what it is. Other than if we keep getting infected shit, go away. Not infected shit, infection.
Yes. I know what you mean. Like the focusing on the wrong part of what makes this a good franchise.
We need more infected in the game.
Yeah. I know what you mean. You're fine. I'll let you off. It's okay.
In the show. This episode fucked me up.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Across the board.
In every way. But do you know what? There was no cold open. No, there wasn't. Good.
No, just did the
good
last week's episode and then straight in with the title credits.
And when I saw that, I was like,
I think I said to comment. I was like, Jacoby, please.
And what scared me at first though was the first moment where it just where it goes back. The woman in the blue dress. I was like, oh no, what are we about to get? I don't want any of this. And then I wanted all of it. Actually. Yeah. It turns out. But I think this was Up on steroids. The beginning of Up compared to this is a light-hearted jaunt comedy. Yes. Is what this is like. Fuck them. Don't give a shit. This is better. Performance here. There better be awards. Involved for these two. Just for fucking yes. For these two, I think it was really nice. We saw, save it for proper spoilers, but we saw some characters in previous times. It was nice to see them as well. It was nice to see this, just this relationship grow and all the. I like the fact that it wasn't always perfect, and that just made it even more. And then it happened, and I was like, "Fuck you in the face, absolutely fuck you." Why couldn't we go back to what we had in the game, where one of them was just a ceiling ornament?
I mean, part of me does feel that way, which we'll get into and go into spoilers.
I only feel that way because it fucked me up, not because of the quality of what we got.
I don't feel it because of the quality of what we got either, but I will get into that in a bit when we get there. I don't think that we necessarily should have done. My question is more, why couldn't we have done, as opposed to anything?
I don't think we lost anything important.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. We will. Spoilers, we'll get to it now.
All right, well, okay. First of all, then, and this will be context for people that haven't seen the show. So, in the fucking game...
Haven't played the game, do you mean?
That's what I said.
It isn't.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Rich is going on a tangent. He's doing one of us. Have you heard there's a short coming out where Card apparently goes on a date for the first time since Ellie died?
Since his Ellie died? Who are these people?
The people from the beginning of Up.
I see.
The old man and his wife is Carl and Ellie. Ellie. Side note, I'm going to go on my own tangent now. I noticed this week, Pedro Pascal says Ellie strange.
I noticed this week. And then I was just like, I'm hearing things, it's fine. And then it was reaffirmed by Sacred Symbols that there was at least 2 occasions where Bella Ramsey forgot to put an American accent on.
That's not surprising. No, Ellie. He sort of says it weird. Ellie. You don't talk like that the rest of the time, Pedro. Why are you talking about it now? It was weird. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah. For those that haven't played the game.
Hannah says, yes, I saw that, Rich, but that's quite the non sequitur. He did start the sentence with tangent.
He did say tangent. And we were talking about up. So it's kind of related.
Yeah, so it's not even that far of a tangent. This was, though, so go back to what you were saying.
Yes. For those who haven't played the game. I will fucking shit in your mouth. In the game, we do not see Bill and Frank. We just learn of their story sort of in passing.
We see Bill.
Don't see Bill and Frank together is what I meant.
Okay.
You learn of their story in passing. You meet Bill in a different way. You beat Mill after you
Poor Mill.
You meet Bill after Frank has gone, and you learn about the Frank has left and they've fought, and then he gets infected and he kills himself. We learn about that and you exploring. Now, obviously, this then took a different turn where it went, hey, they're going to end their lives together. And Neil Druckmann said that the difference here is that in the game, Bill has a sad ending because he loses his partner and is just left to mourn. In this, he has a happy ending because they get to go out on their own accord. And that they've won. In this world, in this universe, they've won because they've had their happy life together, living a normal life. And I agree. Fucking, if we're going to be in a zombie apocalypse, I want to do what they did. Mm-hmm. Also, going to go on my own tangent here, but not entirely tangent-ish. They built an entire fucking town to shoot this.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So they found somewhere that was started to be built as a town and never finished. So it was just the roads. That's all that was there was the roads.
Okay.
And then they built 16 buildings so they could have a town.
I imagine most of them weren't up to code.
I presume so. But that does explain the budget.
Oh, well, yes.
Because they've had to literally build a village. Anyway, but I love that attention to detail because it does look really fucking effective. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, what I was just like, I'm missing this from the game is I think Ellie and Bill and their interaction together are really good, but I think they're important for Ellie's character in the game. Because in the game, it's the first time you really see her properly standing up for herself. And she's arguing with Bill, and she's doing her own thing, and she's proving herself as well. Like when they're trying to get the truck starting, and it's like, hey, do you know how to pop? Yes, I know how to pop a clutch, and just there's all this stuff with Eddie there where she's really showing her confidence and that she is actually far more accomplished and far more capable in this world than so far Joel is giving her credit for. Now in the show, we've had inklings to that, but haven't quite had it yet. Now this doesn't mean we can't.
We've had inklings to the opposite.
But yeah, it's been.
I think she's less capable.
Yes,
and I think they're intentionally making her less capable.
Maybe
in the show than she is in
the game. But that irks me because it's like that's not what I like. But I think
that would be to show a bigger growth.
Yes, and these are all. These are more. I'm not putting this as problems, just differences, because these are all things that are easily solved in the next.
I think I know
7 episodes.
I think you know what I'm thinking of when the turn is as well. Yeah.
That reminds me, something I want to run past you off air. Because of future spoilers.
To do with turning?
Yes. So I don't need. This is a bad thing in particular, but it was obviously what I noticed and the differences, and I think it is a shame for me that we didn't get those moments, but we can get them later on. But what they did here with sort of going back and when it first started with we're meeting Bill early on. First of all, I love the fucking thing of him just being like a full-on prepper. Hiding from the evacuation, and the line he says was like, "Not today, you jackboot fucks," or something like that.
You New World Order jackboot fucks.
Yeah, great. All good stuff. Brilliant delivery from Nick Offerman in the only way he can. And I think all of the stuff that we had here between them was, I was like, excellent. We're going to see their relationship. I'm happy to sit and watch 45 minutes to an hour of their and learning about their backstory in more detail. And I expected it was going to go to. Especially when we got the scene of them fighting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was expecting... When it got the scene of Bill and Frank fighting, I thought it was going to be, right, Frank's going to fuck off. will meet Bill, and then we will learn about Frank's demise in real time.
For those who have been watching the show for a very long time, when we were in the shed, so I could be a lot louder.
Yeah.
There was a very me moment.
Is it the you think they were government are all Nazis?
No. Oh, they kind of are. But
Yes, but mate, that line. You think the government are all Nazis? The government are all Nazis.
Well, they are now. No, it was the you did what?
Yeah.
Just the very loud what. I was like, yeah, proper guttural, croaky shout. I was like, yeah, that was very me. And
It's
I
also
appreciate
very
it.
Bill. Like Nick Offerman is
yeah.
Bill. But that was the other thing that I was sad about. I was like, I wanted to see Nick Offerman's take on the Bill I know. Like
We
the
largely
moments.
got it.
No, but I mean the moments that we know Bill from.
Yeah.
You know. I don't mind that we didn't, because what we got was really fucking good, but it was just weird. It's jarring is the only word I can think of.
They could have done it, and I'm sure the people who would have been capable of doing it would be Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that entire section is a 2-hour action scene.
Yes, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a set piece, and you can't. That would be boring.
Yeah, it's really hard to and they said that on the podcast. It's really hard to make that work in a TV show thing.
You could still have had a lot of the interactions and stuff, and you could still had the like the chessboard and all the different.
But
things.
I do think the things that we didn't get from Bill, Ellie, and Joel together, what we then did get in this is equally good in a different way. So, like Ellie reading Bill's suicide note to Joel. Yes.
Insert Ron Swanson giggling.
Yeah,
That
which is
the
what
thing
I
to
heard
do.
as well
Yeah.
when she read it. I was like, hey.
That was goofy.
I know what you mean.
No, it wasn't. It was Scooby Doo. It was a dog.
Zoinks. Yeah, like, so Ellie's reading Bill's suicide note, and Joel in that moment of having to he's taken in so much, and there's a bit where Ellie's reading, and the line the line she reads is, "This is our purpose. This is the reason." Like something like, "This is why we're here, is to protect people." So,
Yeah.
and the way it focuses on Pedro and Joel, and Pedro's performance in this moment is this kind of like him realizing, "Yep, that is my job, and I fucked it up twice. I can't fuck it up again." And like, that's not really a moment you get in the game, but in this, I think it was really good and really fucking powerful. And like, there was a few moments of that, a few moments of him just kind of like, all right, I got to fucking do better here. And I've got a chance to do better here. I fucked up twice because he let Sarah die and he let Tess die. I fucked up twice. I've got a chance to do better here, and I'm going to do better. And that's really important for what we know happens with Joel later on. That's really important. So I think that stuff's all great as well in those moments. And you know, you get Ellie and Joel with the in-game costumes.
Yeah, they switch into their in-game modes. Yeah,
Which is I was cool with. And the truck is the same fucking
it is the same truck.
same truck and all that kind of stuff. And the beginning, man, of Joel and Ellie as well. I loved the opening of them walking and talking, which is what we haven't had so far, but is when the game, I think, is at its strongest. When you're walking and talking, the conversations in the game is really, really fucking good. And this is what I was saying about in episode 1 and 2. The game uses all these moments to give you all this different backstory that you don't need to show us because it's being given here. And I said in episode 1 and 2 they were given these cold opens to give us this weird backstory stuff. But this is proof they don't need to do that because it gave us backstory. They were talking and it gave us exposition, but in a way that was not like, oh, whatever. It was.
Yeah, and I also kind of preferred what we got here from context as well.
Yes,
because it was, no one really knows. We think this, and it doesn't answer anything definitively. Whereas the fucking cold open answer it definitively,
which is interesting.
Yeah, and it's like we're following these two characters who cannot possibly know this information.
Yeah.
So why do we need it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was so well. I think the performance was really good of the two of them talking as well. So it makes it engaging, even though it's exposition, because it makes sense contextually. Because Eddie would be asking about that stuff. Like, it's fine to have. It doesn't feel like exposition. It feels like all really important conversation. And I loved all of that. And the bit then when you get to that sort of old safe house he's been in, whatever, you've essentially then got the game of him just looting stuff. And it was like the shelves and stuff was all laid out like the game is, with hardly anything on it except for one random useful item. But I want to ask about what you thought about the thing of Ellie going off on her own when she finds the infected at this. So this is the other infected that's crushed under the rubble.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. I was thinking of in Billstown.
Yeah, I know the one you were thinking of. Yeah.
But I was trying to think in Billstown of another one.
I see.
Yay and nay. Like, it was a cool scene to watch, but I do think it kind of is not very Ellie.
Yeah.
It's not a very Ellie thing to do, because in this point, she hasn't encountered that many of them.
Yeah.
And also, this is twice she's shown this really psychopathic, morbid curiosity already in the show, which just isn't in the game at all. She was like staring almost like I don't know what word I'm like, entranced by Joel beating the shit out of the Frederick guy in episode 1.
Well, what they were going for there,
and she had the same sort of look again, and then was just like, and then just stabbed it. I was like,
but what they were going for with the Joel thing, and I thought this watching it, but they did confirm it on the podcast, is that she wants someone to protect her.
No, yeah.
She's never had someone to protect her, and now she's got someone.
That's not the way she looked at it.
No, but then it's then becomes a, wow, look at what this guy will do for me. Mm-hmm. Like, is activated by that violence and that level of protection.
And I had heard that, and I get that. Like, I do get it, but then that doesn't apply to this.
Yeah. Then the weird thing for me about this, the game has kind of idea of like she will do what needs to be done, but she's apprehensive on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, she wants a gun, all that kind of stuff in the game. She wants to do what needs to be done, but she's always a bit like first unsure of it. And there's some moments that are coming. I'm intrigued on how they're going to handle it. And I think what they were trying to show here is this idea of that she has an interest in the violence, maybe, or whatever, which maybe, again, very, very egregious spoilers, makes sense for things that we know happens later. Yeah, to build that in early.
But then they're trying to sow this level. She was born into this complete and utter desensitization to it. I think, like, there's nothing that can really phase her, which then kind of explains, but also makes sense for different things going forward, or as much sense.
What I did like though about this scene is I feel like they were humanizing that infected still.
Yeah, I think the way that it's weird because I think he was obviously meant to be a stalker. Yeah. So he would be a bit too far gone. But yeah, they were. You could clearly tell that he was in there. Yeah. That there was someone in there. Which they do with the runners. In the game, they do that with the runners, which we've spoken about that before already. But I think that's one of the things that makes the game so fucking horrifying. Mm-hmm. But they don't do that once you're past that point, and that's fine. Like the stalkers they still have their face mostly exposed, so you could easily say that. Well, it's not until they get completely engulfed. The little bit of blood showed still a small amount of human. I mean, they still bleed.
Yeah, they do. I'm confused by that as well.
I'm confused by what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the focus on the eye.
Yeah, it was the
what
eye.
Was doing, because that was really what the focal point of the shot was. And
it wasn't trying to attack.
And the infector was making eye contact with Ellie.
You talk about the different kinds of infectors as if everyone has played a game. I talk about the different kinds of infectors as if we've already spoken about them on this podcast.
You will. I imagine the show is going to teach you about the different kind of infected still.
I don't think it would teach. I just think they'll be there.
Oh yeah, I guess
because they've never called them clickers. I don't think.
No, they haven't called them clickers.
Which they call them clickers
in show,
the game, and they call them runners in the game, and stalkers, and they've referenced bloaters. Yep. But obviously, whatever we get to replace the bloater
will be a different version.
It's going to be different. Yeah.
Rich says, "Don't know why they didn't bleed. Of course they do. Ignore me. I will."
Yeah. So I will. Well, let's do a quick rundown for those who haven't played the game. Though, runners, newly infected. They don't really have any of the fungal stuff all over them. They're essentially just your traditional rage zombie.
They're the ones we've mainly seen in the first episode. They were all runners.
They were all runners, from the first episode. Clickers. Next would be stalkers, which would be the ones that are kind of fungally. So the one who got Tess, who infected Tess, not who infected, who snogged Tess. Yeah. You also said about this week's show. Yeah, but I know I definitely spoken about it because it was because as I was about to say, the infected that did the to Tess last week was a stalker, and I definitely remember bringing that up. So they're kind of like the partially infected. In the game, they kind of just slink in the shadows. They don't really come at you until they're behind you.
Yes. They sneak up on you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll go ham on you. And then if you see them, they'll kind of just smack you and run away.
Yeah.
Clickers are the ones from last week's episode that can't see and do the horrifying sound. And then bloaters, which we won't get in full force, are massive ones. It's implied that those are the ones that who have essentially been infected since day one and are still around.
Yeah. In the game, you would have seen bloaters by this episode.
One, yeah.
So I don't know when they're going to show us that in the show now, but there'll be some.
Yeah, that was in Billstown.
Yeah,
you see the first bloater, and that was the you're in that moment in the game. The door just bursts open, and just like, what the fuck? No.
Yeah, pretty much. That is pretty much how that went for me on the first time, and the second time, and then the third time. Now, though, it's got the point. Oh, you're fucking here. Right, come on then.
I've been playing... I started playing part 2 last night.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, while watching Rich's stream.
Just want to be particularly miserable, do you?
Yeah, because I'm playing Walking Dead, which is miserable as well.
I go to work.
Oh, well, yeah, I do that as well. It's also miserable. Bloody general public are involved. Oh, God. I had a guy today. Anyway. But I've been playing it with modifiers.
All right.
So all I'll say is the near the beginning, the supermarket. If you remember.
Yep, I do.
I literally had infinite crafting turned on. So I just went in and went, Molotov, Molotov, Molotov. I did break the game though.
Oh.
I set it up, did all that. I had 3 Molotovs. That's as many as you can have. And then there's a moment where you have to take a Molotov from Dina.
All right. I see.
I couldn't take said Molotov because I was full, and because it was set up to do the thing, I also couldn't throw one. I was like, shit. I did that, reloaded the checkpoint, it wouldn't work. And I was just like, can I just climb through the window? And then she's like, all right, well, fine. Yes.
Good.
Otherwise, I would have been like, well, fuck this, delete it. But anyway, back to the show. I do like the fact that we did get some traps.
Yep. Yeah, I think all the stuff
cool
then...
fucking shit traps as well.
Everything that was Bill's town story, outstanding. From start to finish, everything about it. The traps and, how much time they spent setting up Bill. Mm-hmm. Just this montage of him going around and breaking in.
Living his best fucking life.
Yeah, but just simple things were just fucking have to go and switch the gas on. Because he says, that was fast, wasn't it? Like, go and fucking switch that on already and go and get everything up and running and get generator going, and just that he had built this fucking fortress for himself. And we get a while of that before we meet Frank. We get just him in his life, sitting there eating dinner, watching CCTV of infected being destroyed by his traps and giggling at him, which I would do the same.
It's
great.
It's incredible. Everything about Bill in this was so good. I think he still had that humor, level of just, I'm just annoyed at everything.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Am I Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Just to make sure Hannah's aware, I'm not Frank.
You're definitely Frank.
Plutonic.
We're kind of a switch between the two because I'm the annoyed at everything all the time, but also like a good giggle. Not that you don't like a good giggle, but you can cook, I can't.
Bill can cook.
The one thing I would need in the zombie apocalypse would be a microwave.
I'm sure you could get one.
I probably could. It probably wouldn't work. Would it work if I just span it?
Like a basketball.
Yeah, because that's all the microwaves do. They just spin things. Yeah, there's no.
It's the revolution that heats up
microwaving
the
at all.
food. Yeah. So for me, when Nick Offerman starts to stand out in this, is actually once he meets Bill, fucking dickhead, meets Frank.
Yep.
Because I think he shows such subtle vulnerability and awkwardness at so many moments, and like the.
Yeah, Craig Mazin says that when did Frank know Bill was gay, and Craig Mazin says the second he saw it.
Yeah.
Just immediately, it just knew. Yeah.
But there's so much like when he gets him back to his house, and the way he just like really awkwardly brings him his food. And just like, there you go, and just awkward with him the entire time. And like when he goes to the piano, he's so awkward. And oh, mate, the piano thing and the fucking choice of music. I don't know what it is about this franchise. Every time it puts a fucking song in it,
so what it
nails it.
So basically, all you need to do to destroy the general population, it would seem, take a song, strip it way the fuck down. It's played on one instrument.
Yep.
A piano or a guitar.
Yep.
Then get a male singer to sing it real low.
Yep. With a little bit of emotional croak.
Yeah. And so some of the words don't come out as notes, they come out as whispers.
Yep.
Because it's too low. The nation is in tears. That's all that needs to happen. Richard said, there is one thing that I thought was just a bit too much, and that was the sex scene. I don't mind it in general. It's nothing to do with it being a gay couple. It was just more than it was needed. Every sex scene in the universe is more than was needed. I don't think there is any sex scene on a non-porn movie. I don't know why I pointed at you when I said non-porn movie. That is needed. I think they're all unnecessary, so I do agree.
I didn't think this one went far enough to be much of a problem, to be honest. I normally agree with that sentiment, but it was kind of like hey, this is what's going to happen because it's an important moment for the characters, and then it broke away from it. So,
yeah, I think, yeah, like
you didn't see Bill completely raw dogging Frank. All right, that's all I'm saying.
No, I know
They could have gone full Game of Thrones.
They could have done.
They didn't.
They could have done, but. Especially as it's HBO, they could have gone full Game of Thrones.
But I think it was really important.
Bring a sibling in.
I think it was a really important moment for Bill's character of like really showing his vulnerability of like he hasn't even like succumbed to this feeling before and his acceptance of who he is. No. And now in this world of all worlds, he's met someone in fucking pure happenstance that is able to help him and bring that out of him, which is an important part for fucking any human. Like, it's like, I always find it weird when people get kind of like, not grossed out, but sort of like, oh, why are we talking about sex thing? Why is there a sex? Like, it's a really important part of life. It's a really important part of people and people's mental health and like, even physical things. Like, it's really important. Like, really important. And people's lives are fucking destroyed by poor sexual experiences or not having a healthy sexual understanding of themselves. And I think it's really important to show that in this moment, he was like, vulnerable and there was someone to help him, which is what all of that combined, which is then what makes the rest make sense and how Bill has come from this complete loner prepper, doesn't want to fucking trust or be with anyone, to he's able to let Frank into his life so much, like to the degree we get to. It's how important their relationship is. Mm-hmm. I think it is important that we had that moment. And I think it broke away just at the right time.
The moments around it I don't think are unnecessary, and the same with every show. I think there are classier ways to do it.
Frank would have been tender afterwards. I agree. He seemed very caring.
And he's not a whore. He's not just doing it for dinner.
Yeah.
But he will do it for a few nights.
Yes.
Surely that just makes you an expensive whore. Which is fine.
But the piano thing, right? So like this whole section of them playing the music. Great choice of song. Like, I don't know the song, but it fucking worked.
Yep.
Like, it worked. But what I love about it is Frank sitting down and fucking butchering it. And it was such a good performance of someone playing badly. Like, just butchering this. I can't fucking play. Like, so, and then,
I thought,
like,
when that was
so
when
good.
that was starting, I thought he was going to be, like, mind-blowing. And that's what was going to kind of just make Bill like yes, he can stay, and properly fall for him. But no, the exact fucking opposite.
That was it, yeah.
Bill just went, "You are terrible. You need to fucking stop. I'm gonna do it, and then Frank's gonna fall in love with me." That's what's gonna happen.
And I think that was so good. And but again, Nick Offerman's performance here, when he sits down and how softly and gently and tenderly he plays that song. and it's not pitch perfect or anything like that, but it's the performance is there from an emotional level, and you're seeing him there already kind of like he's uncomfortable because he's feeling something that he's not felt or really thought about before, and he's like, oh shit, like this is odd, and I think it was great. And the bit for me that actually I like one of the few moments where I think Nick Offerman stands out in this is like afterwards, and then like Frank kisses him and whatnot, and again Bill, like he's so like kind of awkward and just caught off guard, but like doesn't know what to do with himself. He tells him like go and shower, and he nods and gets up and then just like waddles out of the room and up the stairs. It's so fucking funny. Like I think Nick Offerman's body language in his performance is so good.
Yep.
It is anyway. It is in Parks and Rec and stuff. His body language is brilliant, but like it's such a different way. I haven't seen him before. This vulnerability, which I think he nailed. That was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I also can't remember what I was going to say at all. But it's not just low male voices on these songs for the perfect strip back. There's Ellie's version. Yeah, yeah. That is true. That is true. Just low voices. Really low voices. Cynical me wondered if Frank wasn't gay but just went to stay and end up having a wonderful life.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly. What was I going to say? Fuck. Piano. Thing. And I don't remember. Fuck. Fuckity fuck.
They keep then harping, like, I like how it breaks through it. You have these tender moments, and then you cut to them fucking fighting, like however many years later, and they're fighting.
Oh, yeah, just, what was it, like 4 years later?
Yeah, and I think that's great. And then bringing Joel and Tess into it, I think was really good as well, because it continues to build on their relationship and showing us, like, they were together for a fucking
really long
while.
time. Yeah.
Like, which really, I think, then is important to build on, like, where Joel is right now, because he hasn't just lost someone. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a bit of a thing. No, that was his Frank.
Yeah, but
you know,
I feel like this plus what we got in episode 2 kind of, I think, really fucking piles it on for Joel, because I kind of implied, sort of in a way, that Joel had never acknowledged it.
Yes.
Or really done anything about it. He had never told Tess that he loved her or anything like that, and just completely shut it off and was just kind of, like, he was there, obviously, but never really did anything about it, and now he's just like, well, fuck, and then that just gets brought even more here, and then at the end with the note, even fucking more. It's just like, you need to protect Tess, and it's like, well, shit. And then I loved the fact that Ellie didn't finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Just moved on.
That she's getting it as well. Yeah. And that's showing their relationship really starting. And, you know, in the game, this is the moments where you start seeing their relationship really start to come together.
What,
properly.
Bills? It's after I think you get the inklings on the way to Bills, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's once you get to Billstown, they really start bonding. And
yeah, because this is where we actually had the conversation that I was talking, where I thought this episode would start, because that's what happens immediately after in the game.
Well, I think obviously because what happens in the game is fucking Ellie, like Joel gets caught in one of Bill's traps, and Ellie has to rescue him. And in the end, Bill gets there just in time. But Ellie is like doing her fucking darndest to save Joel, which is like what's building into and in the game's narrative is like that's where you're really starting to see a relationship come together. She is almost like a, you know, I need to protect you as well. Yeah, which I think, you know, I said one of my feelings of this whole section, Billstown of the game, is showing that Ellie is capable, which obviously we haven't had here, and I think that's what I like about it, and that's what I love about that character. I love Ellie as a character. I think she's brilliant, and I love that it's this kind of like she is strong and capable and will do what she needs to fucking do, which we haven't quite had yet, but I think it means we'll get it.
Do you remember when I went to watch this episode? And I put in the thing that it started.
Oh, yeah.
Like some time in, I really loved that for me.
Oh, you got...
That's what started playing. This is the first thing I saw of this episode. I was like, when I actually like watched it, I was like, you fucking bastard.
See,
Whoever got to this point of the episode and backed out to then allow it to do the continue watching, I might change the password. And I'll give it to you one at a time.
I assume it was Charlie.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
The same person who added Elf to what I watched. Forgot about the stacking of stones at the beginning of episode, which showed Joel mourning. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that. Oh, that opening bit where Ellie was just like, just preemptively, just like, the whole conversation that ended in "Don't blame me for something that isn't my fault." Like, you chose to be here. You both chose to be here. Don't blame me for something that isn't my fault.
I think that's how they're building up Ellie's confidence, is more those kind of moments than the physical moments at the moment. Which I think, knowing what's going to happen later on, I think is so that then what happens later on has more of an impact. As you say, it's a bigger growth.
It's a bigger growth, and also, and those then physical moments become more impactful. Yeah. Better for TV, probably, because you're not spending as much time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're way further into the show. Hours-wise, we are way more in.
We're further into the plot by this hour mark than we would be in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Yes. So you spend a lot more time with the characters in the game because you're just rummaging around. And
it's a game.
Scavenging. Exactly.
Paced entirely differently.
Yeah, and it's there's something wrong with my hand. I need to get it checked out.
Itchy?
No, months ago, but it did an escape room. Someone was in a raft. So I helped them up. And it really fucking hurt my hand. And then I was like, that hurt for ages. And then it kind of went away, subsided. Then at Charlie's wedding, I helped Mr. Ryan up that weird slope thing that was in the, the back, which really fucking hurt my hand. I was like, what the hell is going on? That went away, forgot about it. And in the last couple of weeks, a couple of people have shook my hand. And it fucking hurts. Every time. I'm like, something is wrong with this part of my hand, but I can't do it to myself. So you're being purposeful.
Yeah, I'm really scared of hurting you.
Yeah, you're being purposeful, so that was fine. But I don't know what it is. I can't do it to myself.
Oh, the safe clip button didn't work.
Oh, dear.
A perfect thing to clip.
Me. But
anyway, then they die. In what is so heartbreaking, but also so satisfying because they go out on their own terms in this fucking world. We'll think. The fact
Another thing that they said about this episode is they want, before everything starts getting real bad, they wanted to show that you can win.
Yes,
they put it. They want to show that it is possible.
But so here's the thing for me, right? And I think the decision they made here and why, and I think it was fucking genius.
What I was going to say earlier, I'll come back. Go.
Does yours make more sense to go now?
No, it makes more sense to go about 10 minutes ago.
All right, okay, fine. I should have gone before we started the show, but that's a different issue.
Do you know what we don't have? Tea.
Yeah, it was because we were in a rush. We'll have it before Dead Space. It's fine. Fuck me, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, obviously, you get the whole thing where Joel warns Bill, hey, that fence ain't going to fucking last, and at some point, Raiders are going to come, and that sets up for later on the Raiders fucking come. And
I don't know how he did it, but Nick Offerman portrayed such a specific type of annoyance, which was he was annoyed because he knew he was right.
Yes!
And you could see that in his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? I don't understand.
But yes. But, mate, fucking that whole thing, Nick Hoffman's like, Frank, get in the fucking house because I need to protect you. No matter what, you can't fucking die. And then when he gets shot, his only concern is, A, call Joel, which shows that although he wasn't really friends with Joel, he trusted him.
Yeah.
And it was, he will look after you because Joel isn't someone else that's capable of looking after you, which again, I think is important for setting up Joel's character for one. Still, we're still learning Joel as a character.
The only people capable of looking after Joel and Tess type characters are the people as paranoid as him.
Yeah. But it ends with him passing out.
And then it cuts to did Bill just fucking die?
Yeah, but it cuts to Bill just fucking died too. No, Frank is fucking ill. That's the cut. The next shot you see is
Frank in a wheelchair.
Frank fucking ill. And then just misery henceforth.
What did you think he has when you watched it?
Some kind of cancer or ALS or dementia or something.
They said it's MS. Yeah. I thought it was cancer as well. Not knowing anything about the story, Hannah says, not knowing anything about the story, early on I thought that Frank was going to get infected at some point. Then after the Raiders, I thought Bill was going to die. Then we saw Frank ill, and I was like, oh, they got me.
And to be in the game,
Raiders scene, by the way, fucking excellent. The flamethrowers and then just shooting them for good fucking measure.
I also really liked the pen. I also really like that they didn't put a focus on those raiders. You didn't really ever see any of them.
Sure,
properly.
a couple of them as they were approaching, but that's it.
Yeah, like and never put the focus on them.
They did one shot, I think, of one of them burning.
Yeah. Bastard deserves it.
I agree.
I like that because it wasn't about them. It was about
Bill. Yeah, and then it was about Frank trying to because most of that scene you don't even see Bill.
Yeah,
that focus on that scene is Frank. I think,
Yeah,
and was real smart.
And Hannah says early on, I thought Frank was going to get infected. And, like, in the game, that's what we learn happens. So Frank runs off because he's arguing with Bill and he gets infected and it ends.
We also learn that Frank hated Bill.
Yes. Get to the point where Frank hated him because he leaves him a fucking horrible note.
Yeah, and then you have to choose whether or not you give it to him.
Yeah.
And I had to because there was a trophy.
Yeah.
Trophy attached to it. I would never have given that to Bill. But there was a trophy. You give it to him, Bill throws it, and you got to go and pick it up again.
Yeah. Any which way.
The fact Frank has MS has made this even sadder for me. Understandable.
Yeah. But, like, everything they did there of him sort of going to like, hey, look, we're going to end it my way, and here's what we're going to do, and you're going to look after me for my final day and whatnot. And
then they picked the song that they used in Arrival. The fuckers. The fuckers. That music started and went, I've gone, you bastards.
But
Played me like a fiddle.
Although I think what they could have done here, that what they could have done is, you know, Frank goes off, whatever. Maybe Frank leaves him to go and die, and we learn about it later on with Bill in present time or whatever. Or that Frank dies, and when Joel gets there, he Bill's mourning or something like that. They could have done a number of things to give you a similar interaction to them what they get in the game. But the fact they just went hard turn, no, Bill's going to go too, and by choice. And I think it was I actually think it was a really good decision. Although it was odd and jarring, I think it was a really, really good decision because it just was so out of left field, didn't see it coming, and was just a good culmination to Bill's story.
They're also just much older than they are in the game. So Bill is probably about Joel's age in the game, give or take a few years. But no, obviously he's the age you would expect him to be. That 17 years earlier. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they were old here, the fucking heartbreaking painting, by the way, clearly just losing his ability over time to finish that painting. But the fact that he tried anyway, kill me. Anyway, you were saying. I interrupted you.
I was just saying, I think what they did there and the fact it was just say they're going to go on their own way and they've had it, and him then passing the buck to Joel, I think was such a good choice and just great bit of writing. And just, as I say, that story in itself alone, taking out the rest of the fucking Last of Us, is fucking excellent. It's just, not even much happens. It's just a really well told, sweet, sad story.
I love how many Ron Swanson memes you can get out of this as well, by the way.
They're building making the ring.
Yep. They're making the rings. Yeah. So that's what I was going to talk about earlier, and this has actually come around full circle. Obviously, they do the whole getting married. Say they're going to get married as part of the thing. I'm going to go to the... I like the fact that they just keep random shops, like running, as if they can go to the shop and pick out some clothes. It's clearly your clothes, but yeah. I like all of that. So they say they're going to go to the boutique, pick out clothes, and you will wear what I pick out for you, and then we're going to get married. I think that's kind of important. Well, obviously it's important for everyone in life, but in this particular instance, because obviously the world froze for them in 2003. Gay marriage was illegal, and Massachusetts, I've learned, was the first state to legalize it in 2004. So this would have been brewing in there, would have been in the ether, and that would have been the last political bubbling that would have happened before the world fell apart. And obviously that wasn't really a priority after the world fell to shit. Jumping back, speaking of the world fall to shit, I love them talking about how, Joel talking about that this happened in 3 days.
Yeah.
Everything went in 3 fucking days. I was like, oh, what a glorious 3 days that would have been.
I like the beginning of Bill's note where he's like, at first everyone died and I was happy about it.
Yeah.
I concur.
This is I've written this note in a alternate life, haven't I? This is everyone died and I was thrilled about it. The line that was just a 1-2 fucking punch to the throat and testicles was I wasn't scared of anything until I met you.
Yep.
Just uppercut. Fucking Christ.
Oh, the fucking weird vulnerable giggle he does when he has the
giggle
strawberry.
and the strawberry. Oh my lord. I was like, Ron Swanson is in the apocalypse.
Nick Offerman is just excellent. I think he is
Another meme that works really well is when Tammy One shows up and he's got the eyebrows burnt
Oh,
off,
yeah.
and he's getting the bag out of the vent. I love it so much. And then the other one is Ron meeting Ron.
Yeah.
Done and done. I like Ron. Parks and Rec's excellent. I'll say it again. Watch it. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought I put
Prime.
on Twitter if I take anything away from this episode of The Last of Us is I need to make my wife watch Parks and Rec.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she's gone out, so I can't do that.
Well, not forever.
She might be.
I mean, at that point, you wouldn't call it gone out, would you? You would call that
Just
left.
the person still hasn't confirmed their identity.
For some reason, Chris is convinced that while texting his wife, it's not his wife.
Might not be, I don't know. Anyway. Anything else you want to say?
This episode is an all-round 10 out of 10.
Yep. And I fucking can't wait to keep watching this show, man. I fucking love it.
Did you watch this time? Actually, I couldn't be bothered to watch. I couldn't be bothered to find the remote to turn off the credits, so I did end up seeing the next week.
I know what's coming.
Yep.
Well, this is what I want to talk about off air. Is I think I've worked out what each episode is going to be.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I might be wrong, but I think based off where we are now, what needs to happen, how many episodes are left. I think I know how they're going to do it.
Fair.
So I was going to put it to you off air. I can't put it to you on air because it will spoil it. People that I don't know.
Yeah, it'll spoil the shit out of the game.
Yeah.
Really, unless you do really vague. I think you
Impossible. Impossible.
I think you could do it. I reckon I could do it. Because next week, all you say is yeah, you can.
Hang on, right. So, Ep 1, we had
Sarah
and meeting Ellie. Right. Then 2, we had Clickers and Tess.
Yeah.
3 has been Billstown.
Yeah.
So 4 is going to be
Raiders,
which we know which we know.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can work out how I work this
Obviously,
out.
don't say them out loud yet.
Yeah, hang on. I'm just going to work out how I work this out. How did I suss this in my head?
I don't even know he's writing.
Hang on.
But Richard said I was already in pieces, but when Bill confirmed that he'd already put pills in the bottle, that's when I was destroyed. Yeah. For me, it was earlier than that. It was on the sofa when Frank was telling Bill that he was going to kill himself.
Oh, no, I've got myself confused now because hang on. Give me a minute. You stall.
Chris is trying to use his brain, so I'm going to have to stall for some time, I suspect. If you can't, you can't. We've also got to play Dead Space still.
Yeah, no.
The fucking pen!
We almost Lady and Tramp that.
Lady and the Tramped.
Okay, so the way, if I'm remembering the order of the game right, which I'm pretty sure I fucking am. So we just had Billstown. So next episode we know is going to be with the Raiders.
Yep.
Which means I think then the 5th episode is when we get really heavy on Ham and Henry. Sam and Henry.
Yeah.
By episode 6 will be then when they get to Tommy and all the stuff with Tommy's story. Mm-hmm. By episode 7 will be then when they get to the uni. Mm. By episode 8, all I'm going to say is David left behind. Mm-hmm. And then 9 is the end.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think I agree entirely. Yeah.
That was as vague as I could do that.
Yeah. Some of those might warrant more than one episode, but it depends how long.
Well,
we
yeah,
don't know
I
how
think
long the episodes are.
I think right here, you ain't here.
Oh yeah.
Like
quite plausibly because the Raiders only implies to one very small.
Yeah.
Thing. So yeah, I think you're right. And then that, and I think this will just be one of the longer episodes.
yes.
Oh, you've written final.
Yeah, final is what I wrote.
That says anal.
It does. It does say that. It's not supposed to, but that is what I've written.
You say stop, but we spoiled nothing.
Yeah, that was vague as all shit. I didn't tell you anything. That only tells you if you know. So then that's your fault.
Yeah.
You spoiled it for yourself.
And it tells you if you know. All we've done is characters' names, which are already on the IMDb page.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Should we play Dead Space and make tea? In that order.
I'd rather make the tea first.
Yeah, that's what I...
So yeah, coming up in the channel, we will be playing Dead Space momentarily. If you want to see us potentially poo ourselves and play a nice big horror game, stick around. We'll be back in mere moments. You shouted the...
Sorry.
I'm not. That was comedy gold. Hannah says, I shouted, that says anal so loudly it almost woke you. I will be quiet though. Coming up, so yes, we'll be playing Dead Space. And then Thursday, I imagine we'll actually have a lot to talk about in Dead Space, which turns out we did this week as well. So we could have just done Thursday and I should have not been such a bitch about it.
It's fine. They gave me an extra night off, I don't mind.
Oh yeah, neither do I. Thursday, we'll be back to talk about episode 4, no doubt, of The Last of Us. Friday, there will be a game stream of Rich. I don't know if we know what that is yet. Confirm or deny in the chat, please, Rich. And then Saturday, we'll be back once again with Press Start and probably Dead Space.
Press Start on Dead Space, I imagine, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Thursday might even be Last of Us and Dead Space. Who fucking knows?
No, I reckon we do Last of Us Thursday. Oh. Yes.
I said Last of Us and Dead Space.
Yeah, I know. I was being an idiot.
Yeah. Not sure how many options. Fair enough. Well, Rich will keep you posted in the Discord. Join the Discord. I haven't said that in a while.
Buy merch, follow, etc.
Yeah, but the same few people are in the chat and none of them do that. So, Press Start and Dead Space. That'll be next Saturday.
Ooh. So we're taking a little bit of a break on Admit 1 because we wanted to give ourselves just an MCU break because many...
I'm not going to lie. Also, I just decided this when I was looking at and booking Ant-Man. I'm tired of it.
Fair.
Like, I was just like, oh, we've hit this. I never thought it would be possible.
I mean, I'm still doing all right, but it is many. It's good to have a break. So we're having a couple of weeks break because obviously there is Ant-Man to happen too.
But I mean as in general. I don't mean even in this watch. I just the new booking Ant-Man and stuff. I was just like, I couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I've been at that point for about the last 4 movies, so yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I was like...
I've been enjoying the rewatch more than I've been enjoying the new films.
That's fair.
Because
But Rich, you're part of the team.
Black Panther's been on Disney Plus for 4 days and I've not watched it yet.
No, there have I. But admittedly, I liked Wakanda Forever.
So did I, but normally I'd be like, yep, watch it as soon as you can.
I just don't have time. I haven't had time.
Oh no, I could have done. Chosen not to.
I couldn't have done. Because Friday was it? No, Thursday.
Whichever day was the first, I've lost track entirely.
No, what was it, the 4th? Wednesday? Was Wednesday the 1st?
Keep saying days, you'll get there eventually.
Wednesday was the 1st, I believe.
The first Wednesday?
Indeed.
Ever?
Fuck
me.
Yeah. And
we witnessed that.
I don't remember what. Oh, I do remember. I was out on Wednesday.
Oh, fuck.
And then on Thursday...
Where were you?
On Thursday, I was at work.
Oh.
And then, what did I do? Probably nothing. But I've got so much shit to do. I'm playing 3 games at the moment, and my brain's just like, you should get these done before Hogwarts Legacy. So I've got to finish 3 games. One of them is like 95 hours long. That wasn't an exaggeration.
It's not happening. Then,
correct.
Is it? Because there
are less than 95 hours
in 3 days.
Agreed.
So
agreed, and that's on top of finishing a 20-hour game.
Yeah,
and then the last 2.5-3 hours of the other game.
I would just take the 95-hour one out of the equation.
I'll be playing that for years. Yeah.
It's
the sort of game I only play about an hour at a time anyway, so I know it would be like at least 95 hours.
If I'm honest, I would also take The Last of Us out of the equation.
Yeah,
because that's a lot to play.
There is a lot of it. Yeah, it won't be happening before Hogwarts Legacy either. No, that's definitely true. But I can finish The Walking Dead by then.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, That's what's coming up on the channel.
And taking a break from MCU for a bit. Plus, we have to fit in Dead Space and press start. So there'll be a couple of weeks without. I don't know. Will it be a week after next we go back to doing?
Well, it'll be whenever we finish Dead Space, I think.
Yeah, probably about
Yeah.
Okay, fine, cool. Anyway, thank you for watching. How much see you then?
We'll be Dead Space.
Hello. Basically, long story short, internet messed us up. Bye now.